Hey everyone, Dennis Hall with Learning Templates. Thought I'd show you and I a preview of what's coming up in LifterLMS BackPack version 1.1.0. There are a number of things, but one of the items is to style the student dashboard. So essentially, you can basically get the slug of your student dashboard. You can either get that from your LifterLMS settings, or you can just simply create a page and put a shortcode in there, and then give the slug of that page, where you'll just enter it into here. You'll copy it from your URL bar, you'll paste it into here, and you'll save settings. Once you've done that, you can turn on the student dashboard, the style the student dashboard feature, and then you can click Customize. And what this does is this turns LifterLMS student dashboard into something that you can style using your WordPress built-in customizer. For those of you who are interested in the future of WordPress, i.e. the GutenBerg and such, well, GutenBerg is basically going to be an editor replacing the Tiny Mice editor that will, so there will be two places that WordPress is pretty much focusing around, and that is you're using blocks in the editor where you'll be able to put shortcodes and such in. The shortcodes from LifterLMS BackPack will be able to be used in GutenBerg. At the same time, the other aspect of styling a website will move more and more into the customizer. So in this case, this is, some people know this as a theme customizer, but very few people realize that you can use the customizer to style plugins. There's a lot of coding behind this, but it can be done. So either way, we're looking at the student dashboard here, which is your pretty basic LifterLMS student dashboard. Everything's turned on and everything. So let's go ahead and let's just see what we can turn on or off. So right off the bat, there is the turn parts on or off. I think that's pretty simple. So we're going to turn on or off the sections of the dashboard here. Let's go ahead and start with memberships, and we'll just hide that. Now, everything that you do in the WordPress Customizer is never publicly seen until you publish it using the Publish button. So I've got the student dashboard open here where you can see memberships. If I just reload this page, you're going to see memberships is still there. If I then click on Publish in the Customizer, then what happens is when I reload that student dashboard page, you will see that memberships is gone. So that's how the customizer works. The only time things are committed to the website are when you click on Publish. Let's go ahead and hide certificates. We'll also hide achievements, and let's keep courses showing, of course. And maybe we might even want to show memberships but keep courses hidden. So we can have that if we wish. In this case, I'm going to keep memberships hidden though. Again, if I don't publish and I just go to the dashboard, you're going to see that memberships is the only thing hidden since that was the last thing we published. Let's publish this now. And let's go ahead and just reload that page. And you'll see now that in fact it's down to just the My Courses block. So now that we've just got that showing, let's take a look at the header. So we've got the My Courses, we've got My Courses, then we've got the dashboard menus, and we've got My Courses again. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of repeated here. There's also a little place where you can have a message, of course, because I've put this in as a shortcode. So that means that in that page I could put a message in it as well, or put whatever I want with my courses. So let's go ahead and style the header. And so here, the dashboard title, I've got it set to hide. Let's click on Show, because that's one other thing that is typically there. So dashboard shows. But if I wanted to make use of that, I could. Now understand, this is the page title. That's done by WordPress, not by LifterLMS. But these two are done by LifterLMS, and so is this. So that's this whole section here is what we call the header. So this is the header, so I'm showing the dashboard. So I can do a few things here. I can basically change the font of the word dashboard. I can change it to whatever I want. And these are using Google Fonts, so you're not really stuck to using fonts that are physically installed on your website. So, you know, a good one, for example, a lot of people like Railway. It's a nice font style. So we've got Railway. I can also change the font size of the word dashboard. So there we are. Now it's nice and big. And that can come in handy because you might want to have dashboard instead of my courses, which you'll see in a little bit. I can then change the color of the font if I wish. Let's say to red. And if I don't like red, I can always change it to something else using the color selector. And I can change, this is your typical WordPress color controls. Once that's done, we can then adjust the position of the word dashboard if we wish. Let's say that I want to have it more off to the right or possibly even centered. So here now I've got it off to the right, so for RTL it might come in handy. I might want to center it a little maybe instead. So I'm a little off center, but I can just drag that a little over. Now that's pretty close. We're pretty well centered. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and let's an additional feature that I've added in is to provide a background color to the to this area. So this will make it pretty obvious. So now we have a background color. I could turn around and make that red, black, whatever I wish. I'll make it black actually. And we'll just let that update. So there we are. Now I have dashboard. Then we have the menu. So we have the menu items above here. And I know most people like or don't like them, but you can do a few things with in the theme customizer. You can basically hide certain specific menu items. So let's go ahead and let's hide order history, and let's also hide redeem a voucher, and edit account we'll keep. Maybe keep notifications. Let's hide my achievements. So now we're left with dashboard, my courses, notifications, edit account, and sign out. Maybe I don't want the dashboard because my courses is already there. So let's go ahead and hide the dashboard. Now again, I'm previewing everything. I haven't published anything. So the live site still looks like the last time I published it. But here you're able to do kind of like an A/B testing if you wish, where you can preview your changes. And this is the way WordPress is supposed to work, where things are done in the customizer in advance. So let's go ahead and let's make a little change here that might interest you. I'm going to change this into a sidebar tabbed menu. So now we have those 4 items sitting up here. It's always a little bit hard to see in Customizer because there is some page overlap. But let's go ahead and change the vertical position. Now this is the percentage of screen width, of screen height. So depending how tall your screen is, this will be the height of that screen. So if I were to change the vertical position to, let's say, 75%, what you'll find is that this menu block is going to be down at the bottom of your screen. If I put it to the very top, you're going to find it's going to be up around the page title, or excuse me, it's even higher in this case. So you can end up basically changing the position of where that menu is located, so you can kind of line it up with maybe the title or the first course block. Let's go ahead and let's change that to maybe around 40%. We'll see. So I'm getting closer, so let's go to 40% and see if that maybe lines it up with the top of pretty close. So 39% is what we wanted. And that's going to line it up to the top of the first course. And there you go. And again, if I choose, I can just turn on those other menu items, all I like, that I had originally hidden. And that will turn on here as well. So there we go. Now we have a slightly nicer one. So let's go ahead and publish and take a look at the results so far. There we are. So Theme Customizer didn't give me an exact setup. So what I can do is I can basically, based on the real size, I can make a slight adjustment and maybe bring that up to about 20 or to about 30%. And that might take care of it. It might be a little bit high right now, probably about 27%. Yeah, so it's about 27% or 30, sorry, about 32% maybe. And again, that's always going to be based on the total vertical height you have between the bottom of your footer and the top of your site header. That's what that percentage represents. So Theme Customizer always has a little bit in, so I'm pretty close. Now let's take a look at the result here. So my courses, my achievements. I have no achievements. Notifications. I have many notifications, so, and there's the menu, because the menu represents again the percentage in height. So the menu, when they have a lot of notifications, is going to move a little bit. I can always adjust that later in the plugin, but for the moment, here's the edit account, and redeem a voucher, order history, and sign out, of course, would be there. We can head back to my courses. So continuing on, we've now seen how we can manage turning parts on or off. We can style just the header and the header menus. Now we can style my courses as well. So let's say that I really don't like that dashboard title. Let's go ahead and just hide that. So now, sorry, not the dashboard title, the my courses. So that second my courses, a lot of people find that kind of redundant. When you've got that right there, the dashboard. So if we hide my courses, that kind of gets rid of that redundancy of the title. And we can then, since it's hidden, we won't be styling it, but let's show it just so we can style it. Because again, we have the same controls as we do for the header here, with the exception, including the background color. So let's go ahead and let's change that to Railway, just to make it nicer, or maybe Roboto. Roboto is not a bad looking font, but to be honest, I would probably use Railway. Let's do something a little extreme here. Let's do Black Ops 1. It's always a font that I kind of, for some reason, like. Some uncanny reason, I don't know why. But there we are. So let's go ahead and let's change the font size to being really big for my courses. Or we can change it to being pretty darn small. So let's just make it 10 pixels. And there we go. Now it's really small. We can also change its color, of course. So I can make this one red, and we'll make it so it's pretty obvious to you, the size and the color of it. And let's also move it somewhere around the middle. There we go, that's close enough. And we can also apply a background color to it as well, so we'll make that background color yellow. And sorry, excuse me, that's the background color of the panels, I forgot. So we can, that was the next thing, we can change the color of the panels themselves, of the bottom halves of the panels. And let's also go ahead and let's round the corners of the panels. We can actually turn the panels into vertical pills if we want. So there we are, we have some vertical pills. I am going to create controls to center the text as well. Center it, right justify it, or left justify it for RTL and such. And then we can also, the footer where that view all my courses, many people don't feel that they need that, so let's go ahead and hide that. And we'll just change our corners to being a little more realistic. We'll make them maybe 20, around 20 points, 20, around 20 pixel corners. So there we are. So now we have a very different looking dashboard. Let's go ahead and just reload the dashboard page now, and here we go. We have a very different looking LifterLMS dashboard in this case. So that's where we are so far. I will be adding all the styling for all the rest. So when we start showing all these other sections, you'll notice at this point that when I show those other sections, a few of my styles are taking account, but we do have to hide the footers for each section, and that's about it. That's the only controls left. After that, the student dashboard will be completely stylable. I can also create controls to change the colors of the progress bars and such as well. So that's what's coming up in version 1.1.0 of LifterLMS BackPack as one item. Let's go ahead and let's exit out of here, and let's take a quick preview of the forms. So basically, Field Manager is one of the items, and basically what's going to happen is with Field Manager, you're going to be able to develop your own fields to put into the registration form, edit account, enable an account form, so the user account. If you have WooCommerce, this is also going to work with WooCommerce forms. If you don't, you just don't check it. As well, we're going to enable fields to be put into reports and export and downloaded in exports. And when you check this, this is kind of a global setting to enable it all. But once you get directly in the forms themselves, you'll be able to add and remove specific fields in a form from being included in reports and exports, that sort of thing. In the future, we're going to work on having different forms that you can select for different access plans as well. So you'll be able to configure forms on a per access plan basis. So basically, you'll go into fields, and when you go into fields, at the moment, you're going to be able to select what you want to make a form for. So might this be, you're not making the form totally, you're inserting the fields that are here, that you have here, you're going to be inserting them into the existing registration forms. So LifterLMS currently has a few things already in forms, and what you'll end up doing is you'll be able to add your own custom fields into the forms. At the same time, those forms, the fields will be, the information in the fields will also go into the user's profile. So that's another backpack update coming in version 1.1.0, and I'll show that a little more once I get that further developed. Beyond that, there's a whole lot of stuff here. Third-party registration is also going to be put into backpack. It's been ready for a long time, but I'm working on a password field problem that I found. No problem there though. Course grid will be a design element. Everything with Customizer will be done in the same way that you've seen all this other stuff being done, with the exception of these grids, for example, in these current section outlines and menus, where they will actually be shortcodes that you'll be using, you'll be putting into pages. So you'll be able to use these shortcodes in Gutenberg, and you'll be able to do it, and you'll be able to template this stuff for those of you using form builders, using page builders. So anyhow, thank you.